Okay, hacking solutions with GCP. किसको लग रहा है hacking करने वाले हैं? Comfortable with हिंदी? Works? Cool. किसको लग रहा है hacking होने वाली है यहाँ पे अभी? हाथ उठाओ, हाथ उठाओ. Hacking? सही है. काफी अच्छी उम्मीद है, but then नहीं होगी. ठीक है. Anyway, hi, I'm Anubhav, co-founder Dynopii, Google developer expert, Google Cloud, and a couple of other things. If you want to get in touch with me about any of these, please feel free to ping me. I'll share my contact details later. चलो, ये करना है, पूरे सेशन में ये करेंगे, ठीक है? बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस पूछूंगा, हाथ पहले उठाना, फिर आंसर देना, चिल्लाना मत. And yes, why the topic, right? And there's a saying by Thomas Alva Edison, right, in which he said that there's always a better way to do it, something, right? If there's a solution, there's probably a better way to solve it, right? And you have to find it, and that is something which we do a lot at hackathons, right? At hackathons, we try to find solutions to problems. कितने लोग पहले hackathons में participate किए हैं? Okay, few, cool. Right, but then what hackathon basically says is that modern problems solve करनी होती है hackathons में. Hackathons में जाके आप पुरानी problems नहीं solve करोगे, right? When you go to solve new problems, then you need new tech stack, right? एक जमाना होता था hackathons में लोग website बना देते थे, app बना देते थे तो जीत जाते थे. आजकल नहीं होता वैसा, right? आजकल you are expected to build something very big in a very short amount of time, and that is why you always need a modern tech stack, and that is why we are going to talk about how GCP can help you with doing that, right? But then yes, let's take a look at the agenda very quickly. If you want to read through it, please do. If you don't want to read through it, ऐसे भी आएगा, क्या कर लोगे? What is a hackathon, right? And some of you might think, for those of you who have not been to a hackathon before, if you are hacking while running for multiple miles, then it's probably a hackathon, right? How many of you agree to it? Yes? Cool. One person. At least I have one voter here.
No.
Anyone else? Hackathon? No? Cool. Okay, lots of definition there. Short में बता रहा हूँ. ठीक है, you go to an event, वहाँ पे ये लोग 200-300 लोग कलेक्ट कर लेते हैं, and they say that this is the problem statement. The problem statement could be industry specific, or it could be generic. It could be something in which you are asked to build around a theme, or maybe without a theme, right? And they give you 24 hours, 36 hours. Probably happens entirely at the venue. Probably happens in a high. Yeah, I think it's totally worth it, because then you are building something very cool. Obviously, yes, you are fighting your body while doing that. Anyway, overview of Google Cloud very quickly. Right, what is Google Cloud and all that? There's a definition which I stole from GCP's website. But then in short, Google का जितना infrastructure है, the technical infrastructure, that same infrastructure is provided as a service to customers for them to be able to run their own software and applications on them, and that is in general GCP, right? So basically आप Google search करते हो, YouTube देखते हो, या anything else related to Google, जिस infra में run कर रहा है, if you want to use that, you go to GCP. And here are some popular GCP services. सुना है? Any of you have heard of these? Compute engine? Compute engine क्या होता है? Virtual machine सुना है? Virtual machine सुना है? Yes. So virtual machines are provided as a service to compute engine. Kubernetes engine क्या होता है? Kubernetes engine is not a microservices provider. That's a different thing. Microservices are a different thing. Anyone else wants to try Kubernetes? Docker सुना है? Docker container, right? उसमें क्या होता है? What is a container? Process isolate करता है. Now here's the thing. OS कितने इसने पढ़ा है यहाँ पे? OS BTech वाले कितने? BTech. सही है. उसमें OS का सब्जेक्ट है, पेपर है OS का. What is the process? Anyone? क्या पढ़ाई की? Yes. A program under execution. Yeah. Okay. Loosely we can say that. Yes. A program under execution. But then what kind of program? Is it a complete software, or is it a single script which is running? Right? So there's the difference. The process, isolated process cannot be called a container as such, right? In Docker, you create containers. Containers provide an isolation of infrastructure for your applications to run on them, right? This is what Docker does. And when you have a number of these Docker images, right, number of these softwares running on Docker, all these isolated containers, how do you manage them, right? Kubernetes is that tool which allows you to orchestrate or basically manage in bulk all these containers, right? If you want to create 1000 replicas of a certain Docker image, right, how do you do that? You use Kubernetes for doing that, right? If you want to probably shut down half of them, probably deploy some of them in India, probably deploy some of them in the US, right? How do you do that? Kubernetes allows you to do that, right? The next one, cloud functions. Anyone? Cloud functions. What is a function? Programming में function क्या होता है? Programming कर रहे हैं कोई यहाँ पे? IT वाले कितने हैं? IT CS. सब मैकेनिकल ले आए क्या? कौन है IT CS यार? इतना धीरे से कौन? पूरा उठाओ, शर्म की बात तो ही ना है। बताओ फंक्शन क्या होता है, बताओ। C++, जावा कुछ भी करा है? फंक्शन लिखा होगा या अभी तक वहां नहीं पहुंचे? कौन से ईयर में हो? ठीक है, I'll rephrase what she said. A block of code which can be made reusable, right? So that is in general a function in programming, right? A block of code which can be made reusable. Every time you invoke it with the same parameters, it should return the same output, right? It should be stateless, right? It could be stateful depending on parameters, but then in general functions are supposed to be stateless. If you give it a certain number of arguments in the same fashion 1000 times, it will return the same result every time, right? If you had the requirement to just run one function with insane scalability, right? Whether it's one person accessing that function or 1 million people at the same time, how would you do that? Cloud functions is what makes that possible for you, right? Whatever function, a single function you have, which you can deploy in such a way that it is super scalable, right? So cloud functions allows you to do that. And what could these functions be like? Think of it. When you create an account on any application, say for example Facebook, right? You went to Facebook, you started creating your account, and then they send you an email on your email address which you provided that, hey, welcome to Facebook, right? This is one function in which the email is provided and the function is send welcome mail, right? This is one function, right? And this can be handled by a single function. They don't need a full software scale for that, right? And these are the kind of one person in the back, Spartans. Anyway, yeah. So what are we building? We are going to build a polling application. You don't have to read this, just listen to me. We are going to build a polling application in which you will be putting in votes. All of you have got your phones, right? Internet connected hai sabka? Cool. So this is what we are going to do. When you're going to build a software solution like that, the first thing you should do is break it down, right? What are the parts of it? And the first part is that there should be a polling page. Obviously, अगर vote करना है तो voting का screen एक दिखना पड़ेगा. People should be able to vote on it on the polling page. ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ votes दिख रहे हैं पीछे मैंने random number generate कर दिया, ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए, right? People should be able to vote on it. Somewhere it should be stored, right? From where it can be read later on. And the distribution of votes should be displayed on a dashboard. Because voting हो गई तो उसका results तो दिखना चाहिए. Otherwise कैसे ही voting हुई? So this is the first step, right? Fetch the details of poll by poll ID. We'll create some polls on the database and we'll fetch them by the poll ID. We'll provide a unique ID to all the polls, right? And then we will iterate over the choices, display them, and there should be click listeners on all the poll options, right? And let's think about driven, right? There are no APIs being passed here and there. You're just tapping it. It's creating an event which is triggering a response on the client. Cool. I think we have got a lot of votes in here. Someone is trying to spam, being very happy. Who are the people who are crying? देखो किसके आंसू निकल रहे हैं. Anyway, let's come back. चलो ये हो गया. So, couple of tips and tricks for fast prototyping. Hackathon में जल्दी चीजें बनानी होती हैं, right? So how do you do that? Don't go into paid services. Honestly, during a hackathon, you don't want to burn your pocket, right? So just use the GCP free tier. If you want to search about that, just Google that. GCP free tier has an entire page listing all the services which are forever free on GCP, right? Even if you never pay for your life. To be honest, I've been using GCP since 2017 and I have not paid a single dollar so far. Yeah, leverage GCP's pre-built samples. There's a lot of samples. I'll give you the link for this. Break down your project into smaller, manageable tasks. As I said, whenever you have a software to build, break it down, right? And then use GCP's APIs and SDKs. The code, okay, you have the Pole application open on your phones, right? If you see at the bottom of it, there's the source code for it, right? You can just go to the source code and see that I've used all the official libraries, because it really makes it easier for you to just copy paste code, which I've done. Okay, don't forget about security, even in a minimal prototype. Yeah, I did not talk about security a lot in here because in my app there's pretty much no security. Sometimes you can skip it when you are doing a hackathon. You can skip the security part. You can just do a login on admin, right? Yes. Oh yes, my time is pretty much over. So yes, here are some. Yep. If you want to get the deck, because there were some links which you could not click nor see, you can scan this and you will get the entire deck.